There's a Buddhist teaching that could change your life in an instant if you truly understood it, one of the most powerful practices available to any human being. Yet it's also one of the hardest to practice, not because it's complicated, but because it goes against everything your survival instinct tells you to do. The teaching is this: let go. 2 simple words, but they contain the secret to freedom from almost all suffering. Let go of what you cannot control. Let go of what's already gone. Let go of what was never yours to begin with. Let go of the need for things to be different than they are. Let go of the stories keeping you trapped. Let go of the identity you've outgrown. Let go of the grip, the grasp, the desperate hold. And in that letting go, discover a power you never knew you had. Not the power to control everything, the power to be free from needing to control anything. Most people spend their entire lives holding on, gripping tightly to relationships, to possessions, to achievements, to ideas about how things should be, to versions of themselves that no longer fit. They believe that holding on equals strength, that letting go equals giving up, that the tighter they grip, the safer they'll be. But Buddhism teaches the opposite. The tightest grip creates the most suffering. The most holding on creates the most pain. And the power to let go, the ability to release what cannot be held, is the greatest strength a human being can develop. In this video, I'm going to share the profound Buddhist wisdom on letting go, not as a concept to understand intellectually, but as a practice that could free you from layers of suffering you didn't even know you were carrying. You're going to discover what happens when you stop holding on so desperately and start allowing life to flow through your open hands. Let's explore the transformative power of letting go. The Buddha's second noble truth states clearly, the root of suffering is not desire itself, but attachment to desire, craving, clinging, the desperate need to have, to hold, to keep, to control. This attachment, this grasping, this is what creates suffering. You suffer not because you want something. You suffer because you're attached to having it. You suffer not because you love someone. You suffer because you're attached to them staying exactly as they are forever. You suffer not because you have preferences. You suffer because you demand reality conform to those preferences and suffer when it doesn't. Attachment takes many forms, but they all share one quality: grasping, holding tight, refusing to let go. And this grasping creates suffering because it fights against the fundamental nature of reality, which is change. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. No person, no circumstance, no emotion, no state. Nothing is permanent. Everything arises and everything passes. When you attach to something, you're essentially demanding that it not change, that it stay exactly as you want it, that the moment you're enjoying last forever, that the person you love remain frozen in time, that the success you achieved never fade, that the youth you had never pass. But this demand is impossible. You're fighting against the law of impermanence, and you cannot win that fight. All you can do is suffer while losing it. Think about a relationship you're attached to. Maybe a romantic partner, a friend, a family member. The love you feel for them is beautiful, but the attachment, the clinging, the need for them to be a certain way, to always be there, to never change, to never leave, that's where suffering enters. You cannot enjoy their presence because you're already afraid of their absence. You cannot appreciate who they are because you're busy demanding they stay exactly this way. The attachment steals the joy from the very thing you're trying to hold on to. Or think about attachment to success, to achievement, to your career. The work itself might bring you satisfaction, but the attachment to the results, to the recognition, to the status, to the identity of being successful, that creates anxiety. What if you fail? What if you lose it? What if someone surpasses you? The attachment to success makes success itself a source of suffering because you're now desperate to maintain it, terrified of losing it. Buddhism isn't saying don't desire anything, don't love anyone, don't have preferences. That would be denying your humanity. Buddhism is saying desire without attachment, love without clinging, have preferences without demanding reality conform to them, want things, but hold them lightly. Enjoy what comes and release it when it goes. This is the wisdom of non-attachment. It's not cold or distant or uncaring. It's actually the deepest form of care, because when you're not attached, you can love more fully. When you're not clinging, you can appreciate more deeply. When you're not grasping, you can receive more openly. The paradox is this: the tighter you hold, the the more you lose. Not just because things slip through your fingers despite your grip, but because the very act of holding so tight damages what you're holding. It suffocates love. It creates pressure that breaks relationships. It turns joy into anxiety. It transforms desire into suffering. But when you hold lightly, when you love without grasping, when you appreciate without clinging, something beautiful happens. You can enjoy what's here without fearing its loss. You can love deeply without desperate need. You can desire without suffering because you've learned the power of letting go. This is the first truth. Attachment is the root of suffering, and the power to let go of attachment is the beginning of freedom. The second Buddhist teaching on letting go reveals a cruel irony. The things you cling to most desperately are the things you cannot fully enjoy. Because clinging and enjoying are incompatible states, they cannot coexist. When you're clinging to something, you're in a state of fear. Fear of losing it. Fear that it will change. Fear that it will end. Fear that it won't be enough. This fear contaminates the experience. You're not present with the thing itself. You're present with your fear of losing it. Imagine holding a butterfly. If you grip it tightly in your closed fist, afraid it will fly away, what happens? You crush it. You destroy the very thing you wanted to keep. But if you hold your hand open, the butterfly might stay for a while. And if it flies away, at least you got to appreciate its beauty while it was there. You didn't destroy it through desperate clinging. This is true for everything. The moment you enjoyed, you couldn't fully savor because you were already trying to make it last forever, trying to freeze time, creating mental photographs instead of being present. The relationship you cling to becomes suffocating because the other person can feel your desperate need, your fear of them leaving, your attempt to control them to secure yourself. The possession you're attached to brings not joy but an anxiety. Anxiety about losing it, damaging it, having it stolen. Buddhism teaches that true enjoyment requires presence, being fully here now with what is, not mentally grasping at it, trying to make it permanent, protecting it from change, just being with it, appreciating it exactly as it is in this moment, knowing it will change, knowing it will pass, and being okay with that. This is why Buddhist monks practice non-attachment, not because they don't appreciate beauty, but because they want to fully enjoy it. They can appreciate a flower completely because they're not trying to keep it from wilting. They can love deeply because they're not desperately clinging. They can own things without being owned by them, use things without needing them, enjoy experiences without demanding they last forever. Think about a sunset. You enjoy it most when you simply watch it, present with its beauty, knowing it will end, not trying to photograph it constantly or somehow keep it from setting. You're at peace with its temporary nature. That peace allows full appreciation. Now think about how most people experience good things. A wonderful meal they photograph instead of taste. A concert they record instead of fully feeling. A vacation they stress about instead of enjoying because they're trying to make every moment perfect, trying to get their money's worth, trying to create memories instead of simply being present for the experience. The clinging, the grasping, the trying to hold on to the experience, even while it's happening. It steals the joy from the experience. You cannot be fully present when you're busy trying to make the moment last. You cannot enjoy what's here when you're afraid of it ending. Buddhism offers a radical alternative. Let go of the need to hold on to experiences. Be present for them fully. Enjoy them completely. And when they end, as all experiences do, let them go with grace. No desperate clinging, no suffering over their passing, just gratitude for having had them at all. This practice transforms everything. Your relationships become more intimate because you're not suffocating them with neediness. Your achievements bring more satisfaction because you're not anxiously trying to prove yourself. Your possessions provide more pleasure because you appreciate them without being enslaved to them. Your experiences become richer because you're actually present for them. The power of letting go is not that you lose nothing. It's that you finally get to fully enjoy what you have while you have it, because you're not too busy clinging to actually be present. This is the second truth. What you cling to, you cannot fully enjoy. And when you let go of clinging, enjoyment naturally deepens. The third Buddhist teaching addresses the biggest misunderstanding about letting go. People think it means giving up, not caring, becoming passive, or accepting defeat. But Buddhism teaches something entirely different. Letting go is not giving up. It's wise discernment about what you can control and what you cannot. There are things you can control: your effort, your attitude, your response to circumstances. your choices in this moment, your actions, your words, your attention. These things are within your power, and Buddhism says, take full responsibility for these. Don't be passive about what you can control. But there are things you cannot control: other people's behavior, their choices, their feelings about you, the ultimate outcomes of your efforts, the past, the future, life's fundamental uncertainty, the fact that everything changes. These things are not within your power, and Buddhism says, let go of trying to control them, not because you don't care, but because trying to control what cannot be controlled creates suffering without producing results. Letting go is not about effort. You can make full effort while letting go of attachment to the outcome. The gardener plants seeds with care and attention. They water, they weed, they tend the garden. Full effort. But they cannot make the seeds grow. They cannot control the weather. They cannot force the plants to bloom according to their preferred schedule. They do what they can, then let go of what they cannot control. This is wisdom, not passivity. The same applies to your life. You can work diligently toward your goals while letting go of demanding they manifest exactly as you envision, exactly when you want. You can love deeply while letting go of trying to control how the other person feels, thinks, or behaves. You can care about people while letting go of responsibility for their choices. You can prefer things to go a certain way while letting go of suffering when they don't. This distinction is crucial. Letting go doesn't mean you stop trying, stop caring, stop having preferences. It means you stop making your peace conditional on getting what you want. It means you act from clarity and wisdom rather than from desperate attachment. It means you give your best effort without being destroyed if the outcome isn't what you hope. Think about the serenity prayer, which captures Buddhist wisdom perfectly. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That's the practice. Change what you can, accept what you cannot, and develop the wisdom to know which is which. Most people waste enormous energy trying to change what they cannot change while neglecting what they can change. They try to control other people while not controlling their own reactions. They try to control external outcomes while not controlling their own effort. They try to change the past while not changing their current choices. This is suffering. But when you practice letting go, you redirect that energy. You invest fully in what you can control: your attitude, your effort, your response, your growth, and you release what you cannot control: other people, outcomes, the past, the fundamental uncertainty of existence. This isn't passive. This is the most intelligent allocation of your life energy possible. Buddhism also teaches that letting go often creates space for better outcomes than you could have controlled into existence. When you let go of your rigid plan, better opportunities can emerge. When you let go of trying to force a relationship, healthier connections can form. When you let go of attachment to one path, you notice other paths you were blind to. Letting go creates space for life to surprise you in ways your controlling mind never could have orchestrated. This is the third truth. Letting go is not giving up. It's wisdom about what to engage with and what to release. It's full effort without desperate attachment. It's caring deeply while holding lightly. It's the most powerful way to move through life. The fourth Buddhist teaching on letting go addresses one of the deepest forms of attachment: identification with your thoughts and emotions. Most people believe they are their thoughts. They believe they are their emotions. Someone insults them and they think, I am insulted. They have an anxious thought and they think, I am anxious. They feel sad and they think, I am sad. But Buddhism teaches something revolutionary. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness in which thoughts and emotions arise, the sky in which these weather patterns pass, the space in which these experiences occur. And when you realize this, when you truly understand this, you gain the power to let go of identification with mental and emotional states that previously controlled you. Think about it. If you were your thoughts, you couldn't observe them, but you can. You can notice yourself thinking. You can watch thoughts arise, exist for a moment, and pass away. So who is doing the watching? Who is aware of the thoughts? That awareness, that observing presence, that's what you actually are, not the thoughts themselves. The same is true for emotions. You can feel sad while noticing you're feeling sad. You can be angry while observing anger. You can experience fear while watching fear arise. This means you are not the emotion. You are the space in which the emotion is happening. This understanding is profoundly liberating because if you're not your thoughts, you don't have to believe every thought that crosses your mind. If you're not your emotions, you don't have to be controlled by every feeling that arises. You can let them come, let them be, let them go, like clouds passing through the sky. The sky doesn't cling to clouds. It doesn't identify as the clouds. It simply allows them to pass through. Most people are completely identified with their mental and emotional weather. A thought says, "You're not good enough," and they believe it, internalize it, build their self-image around it. An emotion of anxiety arises, and they think, "I am an anxious person," making it part of their identity. A memory surfaces, and they live in it as though it's happening now. This identification creates suffering because you're constantly at the mercy of your mental and emotional states. When they're pleasant, you're okay. When they're unpleasant, you suffer. You have no stability, no ground beneath you, because you are identified with phenomena that are constantly changing. But when you practice letting go of this identification, when you recognize yourself as the awareness rather than the content of awareness, everything shifts. Difficult thoughts arise, and you can observe them without believing them. There's the thought that I'm not good enough. Interesting. Not true. But the mind is offering that thought. The thought loses its power because you're not identified with it. Difficult emotions arise, and you can hold space for them without being overwhelmed. I'm noticing fear arising. I can feel it in my body. It's here. I'm not pushing it away, but I'm also not consumed by it. I'm the space in which fear is occurring. The emotion moves through and passes more quickly because you're not adding fuel to it through identification and resistance. This is the power of mindfulness meditation. It trains you to observe your thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. You practice being the sky, not the weather, the ocean, not the waves, the awareness, not the content. Buddhism teaches that most of your suffering is not from circumstances. It's from your thoughts about circumstances. It's from your emotional resistance to what is. And when you let go of identifying with thoughts and emotions, when you recognize them as temporary visitors in the space of your awareness, you reclaim your power. You can have the thought, "I'm a failure," without believing it. You can feel rejection without making it mean something permanent about your worth. You can experience loss without being destroyed by it, because you know these are experiences happening within you, not definitions of who you are. This is the fourth truth. You are not your thoughts or emotions. You are the awareness that observes them. And when you let go of identification with mental and emotional states, they lose their power to control you. The fifth Buddhist teaching on letting go addresses one of the heaviest burdens most people carry: the past. Attachment to what happened, clinging to old grievances, old hurts, old versions of yourself, old stories about what it all meant. Buddhism teaches that letting go of the past is essential for living fully in the present. The past exists only in memory. It's not happening now. It cannot hurt you now except through your continued attachment to it. When you replay painful memories, when you rehearse old arguments, when you nurse ancient wounds, when you identify with who you were years ago, you're choosing to keep the past alive in your present, and that choice steals your now. You cannot change what happened. No amount of rumination will alter the past. No amount of wishing it were different will make it different. The past is fixed, complete, done. Your only choice is how you relate to it in the present moment. Do you cling to it, letting it define you, letting it steal your now? Or do you let it go, accepting that it happened, learning what you can from it, and turning your attention to the only time that actually exists, this moment? Many people resist letting go of the past because they think it means condoning what happened, forgetting the people who hurt them, or losing important parts of their identity. But Buddhism teaches that letting go is not any of these things. Letting go of the past doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means accepting that it did happen and choosing not to give it power over your present. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without the emotional charge, without the suffering, without the identification. Letting go doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It means freeing yourself from being perpetually controlled by what someone else did. Think about carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents something from your past: a hurt, a failure, a regret, a grudge. You've been carrying these stones for years, maybe decades. They're exhausting. They're weighing you down. They're preventing you from moving freely, from running, from dancing, from fully engaging with life. Someone suggests you let go of the stones, put down the backpack, and you resist. But these stones are important. They're part of who I am. If I put them down, I'm dishonoring what happened. I need to remember. But the question Buddhism asks is, are these stones serving you, or are they just making you suffer? You can remember what happened without carrying the weight of it. You can honor difficult experiences without being defined by them. You can learn lessons without perpetually reliving the pain. Letting go doesn't erase the past. It frees you from being imprisoned by it. This applies to everything. The relationship that ended years ago that you still haven't emotionally released. Let it go. It's over. Your clinging doesn't change that. It just keeps you unavailable for new love. The failure that happened, the mistake you made, the opportunity you missed. Let it go. Learn from it, but stop replaying it. Stop punishing yourself. Stop letting it define your present. The version of yourself you used to be, younger, different, perhaps more successful or beautiful or free. Let that go too. That person doesn't exist anymore except in memory. Clinging to who you were prevents you from becoming who you're meant to be now. Buddhism teaches a practice for letting go of the past. Acknowledge what happened. Feel whatever emotions are present about it. Extract any wisdom or lessons, then consciously release it. You can even ritualize this. Write about it, then burn the paper. Speak it aloud, then symbolically blow it away. The ritual helps your psyche understand, I'm letting this go now. And then, each time your mind returns to the past, each time you find yourself replaying old stories, gently redirect. That was then. This is now. I'm choosing to be present. Over and over, patiently training your mind to live in the present rather than in the prison of the past. When you practice this, when you truly let go of the past, something remarkable happens. You feel lighter, you have more energy, you're more present, you're more available for joy, for connection, for life as it's actually happening, because you're not spending your precious attention on what cannot be changed. You're here, now, free. This is the fifth truth. The past exists only in memory, and clinging to it steals your present. Let it go and reclaim the only time that's real, now. The sixth Buddhist teaching reveals why letting go is not just about ending suffering. It's about creating possibility. When you let go of what is, you create space for what's next. When your hands are full, gripping tightly to what you have, you cannot receive anything new. But when you open your hands, when you release what you're holding, space opens. This is one of the most beautiful aspects of letting go. It's not just about loss, it's about possibility. Every ending is a beginning. Every release creates space. Every letting go makes room for something new to enter. Think about nature. Trees let go of their leaves in autumn. This seems like loss, but the letting go is necessary. It allows the tree to conserve energy through winter. It allows old, damaged leaves to fall away. It creates space for new growth in spring. The tree doesn't cling to dead leaves. It trusts the cycle. It lets go so new life can emerge. You are the same. Sometimes you need to let go of relationships that have run their course to make space for new connections more aligned with who you're becoming. Sometimes you need to let go of jobs, careers, identities that no longer fit to create space for your next chapter. Sometimes you need to let go of beliefs, stories, ways of being that limit you to make space for growth. But people resist this. They cling to what's familiar, even when it no longer serves them, even when it's painful, even when it's clearly time to move on. Why? Because letting go requires trust. Trust that something new will come. Trust that the space won't just be empty forever. Trust that the unknown future might actually be better than the known present. Buddhism teaches that this trust is essential, not blind trust that everything will be perfect, but trust in the process of life, in your own resilience, in the natural cycle of endings and beginnings. When you develop this trust, letting go becomes less frightening and more exciting. You're not just losing something, you're making space for what wants to emerge. Think about people who stay in jobs they hate for decades because they can't let go of the security, the familiar routine, the identity. They never discover what else might be possible for them because they're too afraid to release what they have. Or people who cling to relationships long after they've died emotionally, missing opportunities for real love because they're holding on to something that's already gone. The practice is this. When you sense it's time to let go, when you feel the ending approaching, don't fight it. Don't cling desperately to what's finishing. Honor what was, feel grateful for what you learned and experienced, and then release it. Open your hands, Trust that in the space created by letting go, something new will come. Maybe not immediately. Maybe there will be a period of emptiness, of winter, of not knowing, but that space is fertile. That emptiness is full of potential. Buddhism also teaches that you often can't see what's next until you let go of what was. You're holding so tightly to the old that you can't see the new trying to emerge. But the moment you release, the moment you create space, opportunities you couldn't see before suddenly become visible. People appear, paths open, possibilities emerge, not because they weren't there before, but because you're finally available to notice them. This is the sixth truth. Letting go creates space for what's next. Every ending births a beginning. Every release allows something new to enter. Trust the cycle and let go when it's time. The seventh and final Buddhist teaching on letting go is perhaps the most important for actually practicing this wisdom in daily life. Letting go is not something you do once. It's a practice you return to again and again, moment by moment, breath by breath. You don't just let go of attachment one time and then you're done. Attachment arises again. Clinging returns. Grasping happens. This is the nature of the mind. It's conditioned over years, decades, perhaps lifetimes to grasp, to hold, to cling. So letting go is not a destination you reach. It's a practice you engage with continuously. Think of it like cleaning. You don't clean your house once and it stays clean forever. You clean regularly, daily, because dust accumulates, disorder returns, mess happens. Letting go is the same. You practice it regularly, daily, because attachment accumulates, grasping returns, clinging happens. Buddhism teaches specific practices for cultivating the ability to let go. Meditation is the foundational practice. In meditation, you practice letting go thousands of times in a single session. A thought arises, let it go. A sensation demands attention, let it go. An emotion emerges, let it go. A sound distracts, let it go. You're training in the micro practice of releasing, which builds the capacity for macro releases in life. Mindfulness throughout the day is another practice. Notice when you're gripping, grasping, clinging. Feel the tension in your body when you're holding too tight. Notice the thoughts that reveal attachment. I need this. I must have that. This has to work out. They have to behave this way. When you notice these, pause, breathe, consciously relax your grip. Practice letting go in that moment. Gratitude is a powerful aid to letting go. When you're grateful for what you have, you're less desperate to hold on to it. When you appreciate what's here now, you can let it go when it's time more gracefully. Gratitude and grasping cannot coexist. One dissolves the other. Contemplating impermanence helps too. Regularly remind yourself, everything changes. Nothing lasts. This person I love will die. This phase of life will end. This body will age and cease. This moment is already passing. These reflections aren't morbid. They're realistic, and they help you hold everything lightly because you know it's temporary anyway. Buddhism also teaches the practice of physical letting go as training for mental letting go. Literally open your hands and release something you're holding. Feel what that's like. Practice giving things away, not things you don't want, but things you're attached to. Notice the fear that arises. Notice the relief that follows. Train your system that letting go is safe, that you're okay without the thing you released. The key is consistency. Don't wait for major attachments to practice letting go. Practice with small things daily. That preference for how your day should go, let it go when it goes differently. That irritation at someone's behavior, let it go. That replaying of a conversation, let it go. That fantasy about the future, let it go. That attachment to being right, let it go. Each small practice builds your capacity for the larger lettings go, the relationship that needs to end, the identity that no longer fits, the dream that isn't meant for you. When these major releases are necessary, your daily practice will have prepared you. You'll have developed the muscle of letting go. This is the seventh truth. Letting go is a practice, not an event. Return to it again and again. Build the skill daily and watch how this practice transforms your entire life from one of suffering through attachment to one of freedom through release. The power of letting go, according to Buddhist philosophy, is the power to be free. Free from the suffering of attachment, free from the prison of the past, free from the tyranny of trying to control what cannot be controlled, free from identification with thoughts and emotions that pass through you, free from clinging so desperately that you crush what you're trying to hold. Let me remind you of the 7 truths we've explored. First, attachment is the root of all suffering. Learning to let go of attachment is the beginning of freedom. Second, what you cling to, you cannot fully enjoy. Letting go allows true appreciation. Third, letting go is not giving up. It's wisdom about what to control and what to release. Fourth, you are not your thoughts or emotions. Let go of identification with them. Fifth, letting go of the past frees your present. Stop carrying stones that weigh you down. Sixth, letting go creates space for what's next. Every ending births a beginning. Seventh, letting go is a daily practice. Return to it again and again. This is not easy teaching. Your entire conditioning screams against it. Your survival instinct says hold tighter, grip firmer, don't let go. But Buddhism has observed human suffering for thousands of years, and it knows the grip is the prison, the holding is the pain, the attachment is the suffering. The power to let go is the power to be free. Start practicing today in small ways. Let go of needing the day to go a certain way. Let go of that grudge you've been nursing. Let go of identifying with that anxious thought. Let go of trying to control how someone else feels about you. Let go of the past moment. Be here now with open hands and an open heart, and watch how your life transforms when you're no longer imprisoned by what you're desperately trying to hold on to. If this teaching spoke to you, like this video and share one thing you're ready to let go of in the comments. Subscribe for more Buddhist wisdom on finding freedom, peace, and joy through ancient practices. Your journey from clinging to release might be exactly what someone else needs to finally set themselves free.